welcome to Next Level Live. That was quite an intro, Dave. Really like that music. So here's what we're going to do today. We're a couple weeks outside of annual convention, and what we want to do today is do the best we can to give you information that we think is going to be helpful moving forward here in 2022. And Dave Whichard is here, and he's going to be the host because he's better than me. So he's going to be the host and interview me, and I'm going to try not to screw it up. But we're really going to try to relay as much information as we can that will help you in every aspect of your business moving forward here with Family First Life in 2022. So, Dave, it is all yours.
Well, wow, what an honor to sit here with Shawn and be able to ask him some questions about our company. But I guess I'd start off with saying we just came from the biggest convention I've ever been to in the sales arena, especially in the insurance world. And like you said earlier, it's like 11, 12, 13, 14,000 people, depending on when you were there and that kind of thing. It was pretty awesome. So I just love your thoughts on what you saw and where you see us going this year. Obviously super excited I was super excited coming out of there. I know everybody in the room was, and I know it's going to help them grow their business and help protect other families. And I think that's the mission this year, is helping more people.
Yeah, I mean, Dave, what I saw, you understand, Frank Euphemia showed me a picture of our first annual convention with 150 people in there. And, the thing about the first annual convention that's not unlike what we're accomplishing now, we just wanted to serve. I think, I got my insurance license because the guy said you can help families. Like, he's like, what do you do for a living? I'm like, I'm a social worker and I do real estate on the side. And he's like, we need some people to help families. That's what I heard, was help families. And then I knew I could provide for my family by helping families, but I heard serving. Dave, I've never been to any kind of sales meeting that had more than 3,000 people. Like, I've never been. Last year we did 7 cities in like 3 days, whatever we did. But the biggest one was 3,000, just at 3,000 in Phoenix. And then when you look at this event, had anywhere between 11 and 14,000, depending on when you were there. That's pretty strong, and Dave, I think what really hit me the most was the speakers, not just the ones that we brought. Was Kevin O'Leary great? And yeah, he was. And was Austin great? Was Dave Anderson's always great? He's been there every year. And Vernice, she was great. But really the people that work with us, and what made it great, in my opinion, Dave, was the transparency and the heart. I think for me, like, I take myself back to, anybody that coached me, right, or was talking to me, if I believed they had a heart to see me do well, I played harder. I just did. Like, I would do anything that coach asked me to do, because if I thought they were really trying to see me do better or, my family do better, and I think I saw a lot of that. I mean, think about this. We did 3 full days of training. Dave, in front of that many people, every speaker was good. Nobody was overrunning their time. Nobody. And it's funny because somebody said to me, man, they all did really well. How did they just stay focused and, none of them lost track? And I said, when you're speaking from the heart, you don't have to worry about that. You don't go up with note cards when you're speaking from the heart. People always say to me, like, do you need a PowerPoint? No. Do you need any note cards? No. Whether I'm speaking for 4 hours or for 4 minutes or doesn't matter. No, it's not. It's coming from my heart, and I prepare and think about it in my mind. I think I saw all these men and women do that, and the passion with which some of them spoke and the stories they shared. I had one of the young men come up to me and he said, I feel like it's like I'm free, like sharing the things I shared. It was such a weight off of me, and I think that's and I'll end the question with this. I think when I've been to other sales meetings, or events, what always was a struggle for me is the men and women I heard talk always just told me how great it was, which is fine. Like, okay, and it might actually be really great for them. But when I got to hear people's struggles, I could relate. When I got my insurance license, I wasn't thinking about buying anything. I was thinking about paying my mortgage, which was not even $1,000 a month. That's all I was thinking about. Can I pay my mortgage, put gas in the car, take care of my kids, pay for the things they need through school? Like, how do I do that? Like, can I make that happen? Can Trevor play any travel ball he wants? Can Savannah go dance and do the things she wants? Like, can she do pageants? It's all I was thinking about 13 years ago. So I think Dave, having so many people talking about, and I think that when they said they were honored to serve people, like I'm really honored that I get to go out and help families. Man, I saw a team of people that were synchronized. I saw a team of people that were motivated to do better. Um, I saw a team of people that wanted to serve and provide for their own families, and I think when you get all that together, it's really hard to compete with. And I've been to professional baseball games, many that didn't have that many fans. Um, so for us to put that many people in our organization in was pretty mind blowing for me. And to have it at Lone Depot Park and to participate in it the way we did, I was very proud of the staff that did a great job. I was very proud of everybody that spoke. Dave, I was just honored to be part of the team watching it. I really was blown away. It was kind of surreal.
Yeah, and I was certainly honored to be a part of the team as well. I mean, to see that being put on and, have the people out there, and I hate the word talent, but like you said, it was just people talking from their heart. You know me, Shawn, if I wrote something down, I probably wouldn't read it. I wouldn't be able to read my writing anyway, so it wouldn't matter anyway. I've learned if you just talk from the heart, you get the truth out there and what I think God's put on your heart, and that's what we did. So I was super proud of just everyone that was there, and it was exciting to see the growth that comes out of it. So as we move through 2022, and obviously break records, here at Family First Life, again, it's about how many families we protect, how the service and things like that. And then we have this integrity, factor we like to call it. And I know we have a lot of people, moving in that direction. It's changing, it's just changing people's lives. To even have that opportunity, if there's somebody in the business, why would they not be here with us? Why would they not, want to be with FFL? I mean, I don't understand that.
It's funny because I think that when you look at what integrity has meant, the Integrity Marketing Group has meant to us, when you really look at Family First Life pre-integrity and post-integrity, it's the same heart as a company, but it's a very different company. When you look at what we were doing and what we lacked, prior to about October of 19, the infrastructure that when you grow at the rate we grow at, I think that it's really hard, like to keep up, especially if you've never run something that large, right? So it was a bunch of us just trying to do the right thing by people. And, there's a lot of people that are joining us now they're saying basically, listen, I'm very excited. I want to go protect families. I want to recruit agents rather. I'm going to recruit as many as I can to protect, families. But, what's really got me excited is this whole concept that I do own my business 100%. That I can partner with integrity, and that I can put myself in a position to take care of my family while partnering with integrity. So now I'm not just in the life insurance business. I'm in MedSup, Medicare, and wealth management, and so many different aspects of what we do. And they're excited about that. So we have a lot of people that already have a high business acumen, that have been in business or still in business for themselves in many different ways, who've said, I love that concept. And that was a big part for us when we talked to integrity, was like we wanted to make sure that we could keep running the company and doing the things we wanted to do to serve both clients and agents, but that also everybody that worked with us, because you own your own business 100%. I had a guy the other day he called me, he said, I'm joining you because I realized I have a contract that precludes me from ever doing any kind of deal like that. Like I couldn't partner with anybody ever. Like I'm not allowed to. And he's like, that means this isn't my business. And I said that I would agree with you. I can't contradict that. I'm not your attorney. You have to have that paperwork reviewed. But if they're telling you can't, it's like, no, my attorney said I can't. Like what I signed means I don't own any of this. They own everything I've done. And I think for me, that was the bigger deal. It wasn't about, what this person could get or that. It was about, I wanted to be free and I wanted to protect families. And I didn't want to call somebody up and say, am I able to do this? Or am I not able to do this? Can I take this day to do stuff with my kids? Am I able to do this thing over here? Like I wanted to have those conversations with people, and I wanted them to understand that they could do the same thing. So Dave, what made me so excited was watching all of the men and women that already have become integrity partners since we did a deal in October of 2019. It has been the integrity factor, because what's been provided from an infrastructure standpoint, from a carrier standpoint, has really just taken us up so many levels. And listen, I knew that I needed the support and the help. I think that's a big part of running a business. Do you know what you lack? And do you know what you need? And I think what always makes me nervous is people that try to act like they have it all figured out. I've never said I have it all figured out. Believe me. And, I'm just trying to get better every day. So they were just a godsend when we found them. And the funny thing is, you talk about business. I mean, the connection came from a guy I used to know, hadn't talked to in years, did some business with through one of the insurance carriers, really good guy, but like just out of the blue calls me up. And weirdly enough, life circumstances were in a place where I was like, sure, I'll take a meeting. And then everything kind of moved from there. So be clear that if you want to structure your business and work hard, we'll show you how to do it. I mean, does it mean everybody's going to do it? No. But are you able to be shown a blueprint on how you get a shot? Absolutely. How do you go ahead and help this many families a week? And how do I recruit as many people to help this many families in a week? And how do I structure my business? And what do I do with my staff? And what do I do with leads? All of that. What does my net need to be? And what are they looking for? And I think that's really been just such a big deal for us. I think it's been such a big deal because the ability to allow people to have their own long-term exit plan, if you will. Like, I'm going to build this thing. And I mean, how many people, Dave, are in this business 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 years until they realize the harsh truth of they don't own anything. And a lot of times the renewals they have that a company's given them, they can take away. And that's a hard pill to swallow. If you've worked however many years you put in, believing that everything you had was yours until you read your contract and realize it wasn't, and that's why we're happy to not ask anybody to sign any of that kind of stuff to preclude anything. Like, you own what you do here.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, being in this business for, several years, 19 before I, came here. And then having this opportunity presented to me, but, sitting here with you, and I'm not just saying because Shawn's sitting next to me, but I know him well enough and I've spent enough time with him to know how hard he works. I mean, it's obvious every time I'm around him. So it's easy to emulate that and work hard. And I've always been a hard worker anyway. I just wanted somebody that believed in me, right? And so I think when we come here, we bring people in with us to be our partners that want to work with us and want to work hard. See, for us as from a growth standpoint, obviously some things that we can do to get better. I know one of the things we're doing, and again, I mean, Shawn's already done 2 meetings a day or 3 or whatever, and he's moving around as quick as he can, and he's teaching our staffs. Like, he's really spending 3 hours with these staffs and learning about them and how can they get better. And I don't know any CEOs that do that. I just don't. And so I'm grateful for that. But what are some other things we're doing? Because you're just doing so many things to help us get better. We got these Road to Hall of Fames. We've got the Road to Integrity.
Yeah. I think, Dave, first of all, we're really good people, so it makes it easy to do your job, right? But I think let's start with the Road to Hall of Fame. I think that we're encouraging anybody who wants to host one of these meetings across the country. It's funny, I was talking to a guy and he's like, well, when are you going to come in for the Road to Hall of Fame? I'm like, well, you guys are the ones that are in the Hall of Fame out there. I mean, I was writing applications. They were paper apps, bud. Like, we launched a company. You came in from your apps, and it was a stack of apps. Like, it was huge. I mean, it was. They're all paper clipped together. With a voided check on there. So, why would I be the one I'm in for working as hard as I need to work, but we have some amazing trainers around the country who need to get a chance to get in front of people. And I think that's been a big deal for me. So the Road to Hall of Fame, Dave, you already had one. You got more coming up. And what we're really doing is trying to help everybody help a certain amount of families a month. Like, first of all, whatever you want to do, you're already doing it. Let's get you involved. Let's get you going to a local meeting. And, 3-4 hours of, phone, leads, in-home, all the things that you would need to know to get better at what we do and become more successful. I host the Road to Integrity meetings once a month in Boca. We had done some on the West Coast, some other places that were bigger, but I mean, we're willing to do that again. If you got a huge group and it's a little bit of a distance, I'm perfectly fine with that. But I think that, at the end of the day, we're laser focused this year on having enough structure. What we've been doing from these staff meetings, Dave, if you will, big staff meetings, right? And really getting employees to understand how good they are. I think one of the things we did a good job of is getting agents to realize how good they were, and getting managers to realize how good they are. And I think we got to get staff to realize how good they are, and then let them work. Let them be autonomous. I mean, we got some folks that are micromanaging the heck out of them. And those that can't micromanage. Like, let's slow down and kind of let people do their thing, man. It's a little bit much. And I think that if we can get there, obviously the recruiting and the growth is we're laser focused on that. We know where we can go. We know we can double the amount of agents that are out there helping families. We know we can double the amount of families we help this year. We know that unequivocally. And I think coming out of this convention is going to be a huge, I think you're going to see the month of, the rest of February and the month of March the month of March will be unbelievable. And, Dave, I think just kind of sticking to basics. We have the sales conferences we do quarterly. We'll do those. Grand openings, and we have enough good people. So, that's what I think the convention taught me. That was just a snapshot of a group of people we have, literally a little snapshot. We are much better than just that. We could do sales conferences, in 50 different cities in the same day and have more than enough qualified people to train because we have that many good people. So, and I think being able to hear from some people I've not heard from really blew me away. Man, that person's really good. They're really transparent. They're really direct. They're really passionate. They're really empathetic, and they're really challenging in the way they talk about things and informative. And so Dave, we're going to do a lot of what we've been doing and additionally throwing in those meetings and just being insanely focused on how do we grow this thing and in service. This is all going to be out of servant's heart. Now obviously it's a year of growth, yes, but you can't grow without the servant's heart. And I think we had more people leaving Miami with it than we had that arrived prior to. And I think I want to provide, and it's just crazy stories that people have. So I just think that when you're out to serve, you're hard to compete with. So that's what we'll be doing this year. I think we have a lot of really cool things infrastructure-wise coming up, which y'all have seen. We're also going to have a lot more integrity partners, and we're excited about that. We're going to be more open to helping in any way that we can.
Yeah, it was exciting to see. I remember, and literally just 2 years ago was my first time going to a convention, and had two people with me, two agents basically, and then have just this massive growth over the last 2 years. But I really attribute it to one thing, and that was listening to exactly what you told me to do and do those things. And that was to help, 30, 40, 50 families a month, something like that. And then take the income that would come in from helping other people and invest it back in and hire staff and do those things. So we did those things. But to wake up and see how many lives we've been able to touch as a company it's just mind blowing. And, then you see Pastor Matthew was there, and then we had the guy we're growing this company, but we're also growing some other things that are pretty more important than what we can even imagine. But what do you want to talk about the Dream Center at all, and just kind of some things we're doing there? Because I just think it's incredibly awesome. Anything else you want to talk about? Obviously, maybe I know you asked this question. I'd be curious to hear what you had to say. I think I know the answer, but I want to ask you anyway. Who was you had good speakers, and I don't know if you answered that, but maybe some ones that touched you in a certain way from the ones we come from the outside. I know there was a lot of guys within, but like Austin Hatch and those folks that we had come in.
Yeah, a lot of them. I love Dave Anderson. I love everybody that was there. Austin Hatch moved me. Austin Hatch moved me in a way that, he's been through some serious adversity in his life. Surviving 2 plane crashes where both had fatalities. But he said, you can't be grateful and negative at the same time. And that was probably, out of all the things that were said at the convention, that was something that really stuck with me. That, if you're grateful for just being here, so let's take you're helping families. Right? You're grateful for getting up in the morning, right? That's where it starts, right? You're grateful for having a roof over your head. You're grateful for having family. And then you get in your car and you go out and meet with people, or you get on Zoom and you get on the phone. And the day doesn't go the way you want it to. It's really hard to then be negative because you're so grateful for all those things you got, and you really can't be both. So you're recruiting agents, and you're grateful for the opportunity. You're grateful that you have a platform. You're grateful for your health. You're grateful for whatever else you have in your life. And I think you should start every morning with what you're grateful for. I got out of bed. I love my family. I'm honored to do the things I do and we get to serve. I'm honored to have a relationship with Pastor Matthew. I'm honored that God's put us all here. I'm honored that he's in charge. I'm honored. It's really hard to then be so thankful and then immediately when something goes wrong, go, but damn, I'm going to be negative. And I think that was what really hit me. It's the same thing with the Dream Center. I didn't start participating and donating the Dream Center because of a solicitation or a video they sent me. Yeah, I got the program. For me, it hits home on a lot of levels. Hits home because there's, women in there have gone through a lot as far as violent relationships, women that are raising families by themselves. I was raised by a single mom who worked ridiculously hard. Substance abuse issues, emancipated minors, all kinds of stuff. And that really hit me. But what pulled me towards the program was Pastor Matthew's work ethic. See, I think that's the same thing when you're building a business. He's building something he wants to give back. What gets me following him all the time is how hard he works. That it wasn't how much he talks, it was how hard he works. And I think, when the world changed, this whole pandemic and everything, I watched him at work every single day, all day, 14, 16 hours. And I was like, you know what? It humbled me, and it made me realize I could be better. Humbled me, and I could be better. Humbled, I could be better. And at the end of the day, it was one of those things where I just knew that if I would work that hard and I would be that humble, then we could build something great here. And then we'd be able to participate in giving back to him because of all the amazing things he does. But it's your work ethic. At the end of the day, a lot of problems are solved by work. What's the best thing for a low self-image? Work. What's the best book to read for low self-image? Work. I mean, read the book. I'm not preaching to anybody. I'm not qualified. Read the book. But outside of that, go to work. Go to work. Go to work. I'm not having a great day. Go to work. It's not going well. Pick up the phone. Pick up the phone. That was always our deal 12 years ago. Pick up the phone. No matter what's going on, pick it up. Pick up the phone, dial, call lead, call somebody else, recruit somebody, call an agent in the field, get on the phone because it keeps you busy. What happens is things aren't going so great for a minute. You perseverate, slow down, and sit around and think about it. When in the world has anybody ever gotten better sitting around and perseverating about it? When has anybody ever gotten better? I'm a big fan of Yellowstone, right? My man, they said, you can't be out of bed. And he's like, when has a man ever gotten better laying around in bed? And I'm like, that's kind of hard to argue that, it's true. So at the end of the day, I think, Dave, for me, the Dream Center from a work standpoint mirrors what I hope we do at Family First Life. We work very, very, very hard to serve people. And if we keep doing that, we'll win. I was definitely attracted by how much good they do. I was definitely attracted by how many families they feed that can. I was attracted when I go to the holiday stuff and see how much they give away and all that stuff means the world to me, believe me. But at the end of the day, I'm somebody who will follow and emulate people that work really hard and are willing to serve. And that's when I met Pastor Matthew, I was like, I watched him. Yeah, I made a donation. But when I started getting to know him, and started seeing how hard he worked, then I was like, this guy will do anything for this program here. And that's why I've always, if the coach will do anything in the program, I'll follow him or her. If the manager will do anything for the program, I'll follow him or her. I'm in until I realize you don't work hard and you don't make sacrifices, and I'm out. And I think in 22, that's what this whole thing about is what are you going to sacrifice? And I was talking to a couple.
I remember telling Neri that, I need 2 years. Just give me 2 years. And, and thank goodness I have a supportive spouse. And, the other thing I was thinking about, I was talking to the agents the other day, and, Shawn, you and I both love serving people. And so to me, it's easy from a standpoint of if I just go to work, good things will happen and taking action. We have to, as new agents, if you're out there, and I want to ask you that, maybe some advice for some folks that are just kind of getting started, some things that they could do to just have that success as a business owner as well as, an agent. But I remember for me, when I was having a bad day, the best way to get away from it was to go out and serve people. Because when I was at home, guess what? I had no issues. Whatever problems I did have in my life, they went away. Because a lot of times the people's houses I was in, their life was way worse than mine. I don't know if you want to talk about that, but I just know that if a person can just go out and go see 8, 10, 12 families, 15, 20 over a couple of days, whatever, and they just serve. I've just learned that, and I watch you. It's like, man, if I'm having something, not that he's having a bad day, I'm just saying it's like when you're going through stuff, it's easy to focus on you. But if you focus on serving other people, it's amazing how your problems just go away.
Yeah, Dave, I think for anybody out there, first of all, I've been a big fan of, and I said this to you when I said help this many families a week, put the money back into it, stay humble, which you're already all humble. I didn't know you that well. And then don't take the business personally. And I think that's what you're talking about here. At the end of the day, none of this is personal. Meaning your personal business doesn't belong in your business, and anything that happens in the business is not personal, period. So if you go to meet the family and you're going through stuff, you don't stop and go, well, I'm going through my own stuff. I don't have time to serve you right now. I want to think about me first. And that you can't do that. This is life insurance. This is serious what we do. It's really, really important. And I think we need people to understand how important it actually is. And, at the end of the day, it's one of those things where I know how important it is. And I knew, and then they think it's better than it is. And then 3 families say no or 1 cancels and they think it's awful, really wasn't. And then they wait 2 days to go back to work and they get 8 appointments and help 4 families and they're crying. The key is to stay here. We do that no matter what. Like I was at the convention, the staff was like, man, I should take a picture because I was just sitting over there looking over the field. And then I was like, it's surreal. And they're like, you never stop and smile and enjoy these things, which is true. I'm guilty as charged. I don't. Like, I'm just like, we're running like crazy. But it was one of those moments I'm like, this is just absolutely crazy. Like, I don't have a better way to put it. And I think for everybody, new, been here a month, 6 months, 2 years, 5 years, the ones that can control their emotions are ones that are going to win. Like, they're definitely going to win if they can control their emotions. And I think that's a big part. Now, when I say win's got a lot of different. Winning just means you win in regards to you're able to continue to work because you keep your emotions out of it. What kind of success you're going to have, it's up to you. But you're going to win. You're going to win that battle. And that's a battle you have to win no matter what you do. You have to win that battle if you're coaching, if you're playing, if you're coaching your kids, if you're in business. You need to win that battle with yourself where you can compartmentalize. I had an old mentor that would say to me when I was in real estate, keep your personal problems in your car. You can carry them as you're driving from listing to listing or showing to showing or open house to open house. But the minute you park and you get out of the car, those stay in the car. He'd say, don't worry, Shawn, they'll be there when you get back. If it's an open house for 2 hours, your problems will be there when you get back. If it's a showing for 35 minutes, but leave them there because your clients deserve your best. I'll never forget that. I got my insurance, I made my real estate license. I was in my 20s. He had to be 80 years old. And he'd been around for a long time in the business. And he just gave me such good advice. And I wanted the advice, and I think he wanted to give advice. Nobody else wanted advice. He was really good, and I wanted advice. But I would just never forget that. I'd literally stop. Sometimes it was harder, Dave, than other times. But I was like, all right, dude, that happened. I get it. It sucks. It's hard. Understood. I'm leaving it right here. When I go in to serve these people, it's going to be all about them for the next 45 minutes. When I'm done, I want to get back in the car and, be miserable about my problems, I will. But right now, I'm going to smile and leave it. And I think you can do that if you put other people first. What do you think? Every pastor is always having a really good day? I mean, is that the way it works? Like literally, like we all have bad days. But Dave, I hope that any of the bad days I had didn't reflect on what I was doing to help you. I hope that you didn't know that I was having a bad day. I hope you just kind of didn't know. And then I can, have a bad day later, when you're not around, like everybody's trying to work. So I really think, Dave, the answer is always, and invest in yourself. The one thing you got to be careful about is when you say things, you kind of put them out in the universe, right? When you start talking about, I can't. If you do that enough, you won't. Enough can'ts mean you won't. And if it's I can, enough of those you will. Whatever that means for you depends on how much you keep doing it. But at the end of the day, it's understanding. Also, I guess for me, I was only worried about issue paid business. It wasn't like, hey, how many families did I actually get placed and approved? With all the carriers, they'll tell you what percentage stays in the book statistically after 13 months. So I was always working even harder to make sure I protected more families because I just knew that was a home run. So, Dave, I think the problem for us is, and again, when you find yourself thinking, stop. Sounds crazy, but we can. We start, oh my God, a couple appointments don't go the right way, a couple people on the phone. Before you know it, man, you are thinking. Excuse me, you're in deep thought over things, and it's like, just stop thinking so much. You're thinking way too much, and you need to get people to understand, like, slow down. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So I think we need to get people to understand that concept too. So, that's probably, the best advice I was given, and then I provide to other people. And also when you're in somebody's home, or you're on the phone or on Zoom with them, I don't think any client wakes up in the morning and says, you know what, man, Dave Whichard's going to come by my house today, or he's going to be on Zoom or call me, and I cannot wait to be a pain in the butt. Like, I don't think that's ever happened once. But I think they have life too. And guess what? You left your problems in the car. They have their problems in the home. They're sitting in their problems. And we all have stuff, every one of us. You don't know what they're going through. So you have to learn to not take it personally. When they say something to you that is to push you away, don't take it personally. They're just trying to test you to see how committed you are to it. You know, and I was working as a social worker. One of the things I would say to the foster parents, not that I need to lecture them, they're really good at what they did for the most part. But I'm like, listen, he's gonna push you away a little bit just to see if are you still there for him, or she's gonna push you away. That's what this is all new to them. They probably have some attachment issues. I just had to remove from their parents' house. Like, you got clients who are trying to figure out if they trust you or not. They're trying to figure out what you stand for. Should they do this today? Should they not do this today? What is their deal? And the only one they got there is you. So when they push a little bit, if you don't allow them, like, there's no fire without the oxygen, right? As long as you just kind of don't breathe into it, guess what? It's probably not going to go anywhere. You know, so they're not going to take it personally. It's not going to be a problem. And then when they realize that you don't take it personally, it really then they just kind of get down to talking about the life insurance, see if they can protect their families.
Yeah, and it's like paralysis by analysis kind of thing. You know, think if people would just get out of their own way sometimes, it's amazing what you can accomplish. I was sitting here thinking about things as you're talking. I remember at the previous company, it was like, you know, we had to knock on doors, and I was like, well, just get out of the car, go knock on their door, and you're going to figure out what to say to somebody.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
when you get in the home, like, pick up the phone and call somebody. You know, it's not that deep. And so I just love the fact we get to serve people as we kind of, and I don't know, you know, over the next few minutes, we kind of wrap this thing up. But as I'm sitting here, I'd like your thoughts on, you know, this convention. But you look back 8 years ago, starting our 9th year now, and what Family First Life has been able to accomplish, and really the amount of, you know, mention America, even the amount of the placement we've got and amount of coverage we have. But think about the thousands of families that we protected in the first 8 years. But I guess I'm asking you to go back to the beginning and kind of reminisce a little bit. But also, I know you had this vision and what you could do here to help serve other people. But did you ever, I know we're just kind of getting started still, but like in the very beginning when things were kind of really, really tough, how did you push through those things?
No, as far as a vision, you know, Dave, I'm not that deep. I wasn't sitting around that office in Gales Ferry, you know, with 3 or 4 staff, you know, a couple pieces of office furniture. We weren't sitting around there going, man, one day we were trying to survive. And I think but we did believe that we could service clients really well. And we believed that we had a plan to help empower other people to do it. And we knew that if we expected a lot out of ourselves and each other, that we could probably help a lot of families. Like, that was a big deal for us, right? I also there was so much pulling against us because we're new. First of all, anytime you're a company in your infancy stage, right, the first couple of years, it's hard. I mean, would you hear Kevin Leary gave you a stat on how many businesses make it 3 years, right? You know, and his infamous Shark Tank words, right? Take him out back and shoot it, right? The business, like he's, you know, it's just what he says. But I know, because I used to say to people, you know, if we make it 3 years, funny I said 3, if we make it 3 years, because people would say all kinds of stuff about us, man, they're not going to survive, they're going to do this. We were new, and the way we were doing it was new. The way we structured comp was new. The way we said you own your own business was new. The way we didn't charge for training was new. You know, the way we let you truly be independent, like, you know, go do what you got to do. As long as you don't do anything wrong by a client and what you're doing is legal and ethical, go ahead and do it. And I think the ability to build your business helping families where you didn't need to recruit, like, you know, thousands and thousands and thousands of people. So for us, we had a very good model, Dave. But we didn't really start talking about anything till the end of the first year. So when I started talking about the stuff we talk about now, the amount of families helped, that was probably 18 months into it. I mean, the first year we were just busy surviving. And again, for you guys, you don't have the expenses. We had all the expenses. You have some expense. You have lead expense. You have staff, that's an expense. Office, that's expense. Put gas in your car. I get all that. But I'm saying we had so many expenses that we knew how long it would take to turn a profit. Like, we just knew that. It wasn't going to be overnight. And for us, it was one of those things where, looking back on it now, I think what we did, you know, I said to a guy I respect a lot in the business, I said, man, I wish I had money the first 3 years to put into the business. And he said to me, how do you know you would have known what to do with it? And I was like, wow, that's pretty. It's like, Shawn, you maybe you would have, but you might not have. And you would have just taken the money and put it into something just for the sake of putting it into something. And then you would have owed money or given up whatever you gave up to get the access to the capital. So I think, day one, Dave, I think we were so passionate. When we met with Americo, that's one thing I said to Jeremy Thornton. I said, I can't promise you anything, but I can tell you I will work harder to protect more families than anybody you work with. And I can tell you that we as a company, because at the time it was just a few of us, we will work harder than anybody else you work with to protect families. Like that unequivocally is going to happen. Like we know that's going to happen. And I think for us that became a really big deal. Now when we had America, we started adding some other carriers at the end of the first year, beginning of the second year, and we made it 3 years, and then we watched it firsthand. So I think we didn't know what we didn't know. And I think that we were so crazy focused on growing the number of families we helped that it really nothing else mattered, like in the business, that is. I mean, there were things that was sure, there were things that happened, absolutely. We had all kinds of long days, long nights where stuff would happen, but that was just kind of part of the business. And one of the things I used to always say to Andrew is you have to act like you expected it to happen. Because if you do, then everybody else will be cool with it. Like no matter what it is, you get a handle on it. Okay, that really happened. Yes. When did it happen? Got it. Okay. Okay, we figured that would happen. Anyway, let's move on to something else. Let's be cognizant of it. Let's pay attention. Let's handle it appropriately. But let's just act like, hey man, we know. Like I got it. That was going to happen. And Dave, I think, a myriad of things happened. We struggled with just direct mail leads. You can only hire so many people. You can only recruit so many people with direct mail leads. That's it. You can only recruit so many. And then I think that when you look at what happened with Facebook, and you look at what happened with instant internet life leads, and you look at all the leads that were being produced, then it was like, okay, now there's no lid on leads. And that changed. And then I think, we started getting people who really wanted to serve and really wanted to build a business of servant heart kind of people. Like, let's go out there and do what we got to do. And then, again, I do think 3 years ago when we met Pastor Matthew, I think it changed our business. I just do. So, Dave, I think that that all those things, when you look back at it today, now when we got to fourth or fifth year, we were like, you know what, we're going to help more families than anybody ever has. Like once we got this thing rolling a little bit, we're like, guess what? We survived. These folks that allegedly compete with us are going to be in trouble because we survived. And now how big is this going to get? How many families are we going to help? And when America gets up on stage and talks about how many billions of face amount we put in, like when the people die, everybody eventually is going to, right? And the carrier pays out the death claim. Like how much of that's actually been put in place? It's pretty mind-numbing. So I think that was our transition through the first few years. And once we caught our bearings, then we had a couple rules. Don't complain about it if you don't have a solution. I think it's a good way to live life. If you don't have a solution, why talk about it? You know what? This really sucks. Okay, got it. What's your solution? Don't have one. Stop talking about it. I mean, I get it, but do you have a solution? No. If you have a solution, tell me and let's see if we can make it happen. If you don't have a solution, then what do you want me to tell you? You're literally telling me something I already know. This really sucks. I got it. I understand that. But it is what it is, and you're where you are. And I think some of the other stuff was really, you talked about the paralysis by analysis. We just chose to be positive. My deal was either you're bringing positivity or negativity to you're at, what is that, Austin Hatch's thing, right? Yeah. You're a life giver. It's like you're bringing life to it or you're sucking life out of it. And I just wanted to be with the people that were bringing life to the whole deal. And you weren't. I'm not mad at you, but I'm like, you need to stand over there because we're pretty serious about what we're doing over here. And I'm all about being realistic. That's easy. But it's about this, like, you just think everything's the end of the world. And no matter what I say, that's what you believe. And I don't know how to deal with that. I don't know how to fix that kind of dynamic. And, so I think it's one of those things where at the end of the day, Dave, we are just getting started. We know that the company is as an entity, we'll go ahead and be over $1 billion in paid life business for 2022 as a total company. And however that works out, the carriers and all the people that work here. But that's our goal, and how much face amount, death benefit we can put in place for all the clients we're supposed to service. So I'm just excited about where we're going and how we're going to get there. I'm excited about people growing their business. I'm excited about people, because, like Dave, when you started, and I love when you said that, to your wife. It was like, I remember you saying that. Like, I got a couple years to give this everything I got. And I mean everything I got. And I'll never forget you going like, what would you do if you were me? Like, tell me what I need to do and I'll do it. And I'm like, God, when you find people like that, I mean, how do you compete with that? Like, I will do anything. The guy sent me a clip the other day, this MMA fight, and the guy was like, I'm willing to die. And I'm like, dude, what do you say to that? Like, checkmate. Like, he ain't going nowhere, And I think that we were willing to give this thing everything we had. We were willing to work really long hours. It's funny, I would talk to Mike because we'd get done in maybe 3 o'clock in the morning. And dude, I would just sleep on my floor in my office. Like, literally. I'd just be like, I'm out. Like, I got to be back here at, 5:36. It's 3:15. Like, why drive? You know what I mean? And when you sleep on the floor, the good news about sleeping on the floor is it's never really comfortable. So you never get into that, like, REM stage of sleep. So you actually don't, like, wake up out of a sound sleep. So that sounds weird, but, like, you wake up and you're pretty refreshed because you never actually went to sleep. You know what I mean? You, like, kind of laid there, had to put your sweatshirt behind your head, and that was your pillow. And before you know it, you're like, oh, man, you slept for a little bit, and it's 5:30, but you didn't have to wake up out of this deep, 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 deep sleep. And we just did whatever it took, wherever the leads were, we went, whatever we had to do, whoever we had to call, however we built this thing. We used to do these recruiting meetings all over the country, and we knew, like, we didn't pretend that we were like, let's split up. What earned me, I think, or what developed my business acumen was we don't have to do this anymore because of technology, the way we do everything, recruiting. But we used to, like, get on planes or drive 5, 6, 7 hours and do meetings in hotels. And be like, hey, it's a conference room. You'd walk into a conference room that would hold 140 people, and you were the only one. You're the only one. You had your little presentation ready, and nobody showed up. Or, 2 people showed up. They weren't remotely interested. They just showed up. But I'll tell you what, we never stopped. And one of the guys said to me, when are we going to stop doing this? I said, we committed for 90 days. We're not going to stop. And all of us went. And I don't know that we got anything out of it, but we grew personally. We were selling before the meeting. We were selling after the meeting. It was just a blip, so we'd travel and sell anyway there. But I think we learned how to get better at talking to people, booking them into meetings, actually presenting the opportunity we have, better at recruiting. It got us better because we had time to think, and we didn't freak out. One of the guys, he was like, I don't want to do this anymore. People aren't at the meetings. We're like, dude, you're out. He's in. And then once he got in, the rest of us were just like, you know what, dude? And those guys end up being the biggest people in our group, I think, purely because they had been through so much.
Man, this has just been, to come out of convention and you hear my voice is kind of gone. We've been talking to people, and you and I have been, the last 2 days worked and continue to serve, and we're going to continue to do that. And I think that's the thing I do enjoy so much is working hard, but also knowing that, we're making a difference in people's lives. And I just, that's my heart, man. You probably saw down there, not that it's about me, but like when the guys were getting their awards, like I couldn't sit in the seat. Like I saw Eric got up, I was like, I wanted to tackle him, but I was just so excited to see people win. I wish everybody could have, won, obviously. And some people did more than others, but I remember it seemed like every single person that walked in front of me, not everyone, but, 2 out of 3 almost, I had some type of relationship with. Mm-hmm. And that makes me proud as a company, as a family, that we're all pulling for one another and we're all there to help each other. And I think we have a great culture here, and I know that has to be created, right?
Yeah.
But as we close this up, our last couple minutes, any other comments you want to make?
I just think, Dave, the thing for me about getting my insurance license, I was so honored to be able to help people. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I think you need to have fun with it. I think we got people that expressed an interest in it. I think when you can enjoy it and you can be confident in it and ask good questions and be presumptive, I think I think you have a shot to do whatever you want to do. If you don't do those things, you're not. But I think it should be something that you are passionate about. I think when you get up in the morning, you go to that house, and I think it's one of the things I had to learn is like, it's an emotional deal. Mm-hmm. Buying life insurance isn't like buying a table. It's emotional. You're talking about the thing that's the most vulnerable that you possess, which is the lives of you and your family. And I get it, believe me, but who are you going to entrust that with? Somebody who doesn't seem very confident in it, or somebody who seems not like egotistical, but confident, appropriately confident. I can help you. Here's how I help you. Here's what we need to do. Here's how it works. Let me tell you how this happens. Let me tell you how it doesn't happen. Let me tell you what we need to do here. And to be assertive. Now, being assertive early on can be uncomfortable, but whoever changes the most wins. I had a guy one day wrote me on a piece of on this whiteboard. He's like, here's you and here's the client, right? There you go. He's like, somewhere in the middle is where you're on, like, you're in your comfort zone, they're in their comfort zone, and in here you're both a little uncomfortable. If you can get uncomfortable, help them get uncomfortable, be professional about it. Before you know it, people are saying yes left and right. And you're like, man, I was doing the same thing. I'm like, no, you weren't doing the same thing. You thought you were saying the same things, but you weren't saying it the same way. So you have to find a way to go ahead and talk to people and put them in a position to win and be confident about it. Because if you're not, it's never going to happen. You don't have a shot. You literally have no shot. So, but I know how excited I am about what we're going to do from a servant standpoint. I'm how excited I am about recruiting and saving these agents. And I'm excited to be in business with you, Dave. I love being around you. I love the heart you have and the passion for serving other people. And I know it's going to take you a long way here. And I look forward to your future, and I look forward to what everybody's got going on with integrity and the announcements we're going to have this year. That's going to be really huge. And, I'll see you at a Road to Integrity meeting. If you're interested in coming to Boca for that, come on down. These guys and girls will see you at Road to Hall of Fame meetings. I'll see you, I'm sure, at some grand openings with sales conferences. But we're rolling. And we are not going to let up. We're going to double the amount of families we helped from last year, and that's fact. So I'm excited. I appreciate you, Dave, for hosting me. Good job being the TNL host today.
It's been an honor. Thank you, Shawn, for allowing me to do that. Thank you for all you do. I love you, bud.
Love you too, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.